or not, but I'll live stream in case. Okay, so we've all got basic, we've all got advanced, those standards and intake form behind us. Anyway, Jessica, you still don't have your W-2s?
Nope.
Who else is working? Lamont, are you working?
Yeah, I
You
got.
got, you got yours?
Yeah, I got mine.
Have you got yours, say?
Should be getting mine
Should be, when?
next day or so.
I'll tell you
Okay,
if I've got mine yet.
we're gonna have to have a dry run Tuesday, folks, because I'm worried about you. They've got us booked up with, 30 people next Wednesday. And 4 into 30, it's about 7.5 apiece. And that's, you can do one less than half an hour, you've got 3 hours, that's 6 half hours. Now Sarah will be there to help, that will be 5.
Yeah. That's
Clayton's
6
supposed to be
apiece.
there, but I don't have his credentials yet, and they're not sent in. Yours all's got sent in today.
Mr. Taylor's gonna be there.
Huh?
Mr. Taylor's gonna be there.
He's supposed to be there, and he's supposed to be passing those exams.
That's not bad then, that's 5 apiece.
Yeah, if he's ready,
Yeah.
all right? I had the awfulest time in the world trying to, I would download that form, you know, where I had y'all to sign in the other day. I had to put Lamont's on there. I tried to download it from IRS or the coordinator's side. Hey, Phil.
Andre Stevenson dropped by. He was in here last year and they did an amended return for him.
Yeah.
And he got a thing through the mail saying that he owes them $80-some. They sent him a check for $200. And they're wanting his tax return. He'll drop by here, back here on Tuesday.
Okay, I'll get printed.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Anyway, we couldn't, that form wouldn't come up, but all the other IRS forms would. There's something about, how you pronounce that, Adobe reader?
Adobe.
Yeah.
Adobe? I always want to say Adobe.
Adobe.
Anyway, then we bring it up on another site, it would let you type in, but when you saved it, then when you brought it up, it would bring up garbage. So finally I found one, Michelle got that, and said, tell you what, in PDF form, what it was, he didn't want the mail copy, he didn't want the email copy, he wanted PDF. So, anyway, what is so great about PDF over Word? Alexander, you ought to know that.
There are reasons I just can't remember them off the top of
Yeah.
my head.
Well, PDF, you can download it on anything, like Word, you got half of them.
Yeah, you actually have to have Word in a PDF.
Okay, you have to have the Word program.
Yeah,
It's
in a-
PDF, you don't,
In a
right?
PDF format, it'll just bring it up in another tab on your screen and
Oh,
you can
okay.
print it off.
Well, that makes it more useful,
Yeah.
don't it? That's what, okay, good answer. Okay, if you have a book, let's look at chapter 14. If you don't have a book, we're gonna look at it anyway.
You took my book.
Now I'll turn this TV on, chapter 14. You have the ebook, right, Jessica?
Oh, yeah.
And Faith, you and Alexander, and
I think
all of you. You might not have to look it up today, Will.
Which chapter?
14. If you have it handy, it'll be okay. I have learned to improvise if students all have books, or if some have books, or if none have books. We always improvise. Got to quit we do it. We're going to start on page 8. We're going to skip ATM right now, AMT, Alternative Minimum Tax. Now, Tuesday, Lamont, we're going to have to do a dry run. We're all going to go up to 310 and do a return on TaxSlayer Pro.
Hopefully
Now-
I'll have my W-2s.
Do what?
I said, hopefully I'll have my W-2.
Now, Lamont, you can do your own return that day if you wanna bring your W-2.
If not,
1099 suit,
Huh?
1099 suit.
Yeah,
if not, my mom said I could do hers.
well, bring your money. Say, try to bring your own.
Shouldn't have it.
Alexandra, I'll be down in Tennessee this week and I might pick up my grandson, let you play with his.
Oh, but we do got 1098,
What is it?
1098 keys.
I don't get mine.
Oh, did you get them in the mail?
Yeah, I got mine, it's on the
But now, if you don't have yours, the 1098T, can't you look it up
Probably,
from your
yeah,
Bluefield information?
I guess if I do
because
mine.
we're all of mine are scholarships.
Oh,
All of my school is paid for scholarships, so I don't get anything.
Yeah, if it's all paid by scholarship.
Is it cool if I do a, one of my old W-2s?
To practice on.
Yeah, if you want.
Alright.
But now, Lamont, if they send you a 1098T, it's got more scholarships than tuition, you're gonna get a break on 1098T. We're gonna look at that today, okay? Now, those tricks about that program, if I don't remember them, Sarah will. Now, I've got a couple of instructions from the IRS themselves telling us to be sure that we save and exit a return every time we do one. And they'll learn how to e-file. There's a few little buttons after you do a return that you're gonna be able to click. And you gotta print them a copy. We print them a copy, we put it in an IRS big old envelope and give it to them, put all their papers back in there, and we'll be okay. The first night is always a little nervy, and Michelle booked up a few too many. But if we have to, we can tell them to come back, or we may have to stay a half an hour late or something. Okay, we know what self-employment tax is, right? Now, the real rate for self-employment, didn't we do one of those returns when we did a Schedule E one time? Now, TaxSlayer Pro will print this out, but it is 6.2% for Social Security and 1.45 for Medicare. That gives us 7.65. That's what you pay, that's what the employer pays. Now, there's very few cases where people are exempt from SS. Now, federal government used to be exempt from SS because they had their own. You're going to get a lot of railroad retirements here in West Virginia, and they don't have Social Security. They have railroad retirement. But there's a place for it, and there's a form for it. All right? But when it says self-employed, you don't have anybody to match it but yourself. So self-employment tax is 2 times that, which is 15.3. That's a lot of tax on your self-employed income, and you got to pay state tax of 5%, and you may pay 30%. You know, you're paying out 50% in taxes, and you still have to pay gas tax, luxury tax on cigarettes, alcohol. You still have to pay real estate tax in some counties, personal property tax.
I have a question real fast. They took federal income tax out on me only twice out of all of my paydays. And it was the 2 recent ones.
How much did they take out?
One was like 23 something and then the next one was like 14. But the rest of my paychecks have been 0.
Well, that's $37. Do you want it back or not?
That was this year.
Yeah, 2019.
20. Like my 2 recent
This year.
paychecks.
Oh, 2020.
This year.
How do you know they didn't take anything out on 2019?
Because I never had a paycheck with federal income tax taken out. And then they just randomly started doing it and then they quit again.
Huh.
Is there a reason why they would do that?
Not unless they thought they were giving you a raise and you're working more hours and you're gonna make more money. If they thought you were gonna make more money for the whole year, then they'd start taking out taxes. But you'll get it back.
Yeah. I was just curious as to why they did it out of 2 paychecks and, not my other, 24
That is
paychecks.
strange, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think if you work, if you go to school for 15 hours or 15 credit hours per semester, you're taxed less, right? If you're a full-time student.
I don't know. I work it doesn't do that.
All right.
Sorry. I
Does
didn't
this chapter?
ask that while I was thinking about it.
Well, just file and get it back, Jessica. That's all you gotta do, dear. Does this chapter have an SS in it? Of course, you don't have a book, so it wouldn't help. So I'll have to bring one up. Now, I'm gonna bring this form up on Google or Chrome or something or other. Well, all right, I typed in that form up here yesterday and it wouldn't bring it up. Let's see now. Now, is this a schedule or a form? I'm going to try it as a schedule first, schedule SE. Well, it brought it up. It is schedule SE. See, now when I clicked on this on my computer yesterday and Michelle's, it would not bring up the form. All right, now I want you to look at this form, and I don't have anywhere on this computer to enlarge that, do I?
Yes, the plus sign.
You gotta go from the bottom corner,
Where?
right corner.
That, oh, at the bottom.
Yep.
Oh, I was looking for the little arrow to do it. There it is. Okay, that's better. Now you can use a short form or a long form, it depends. Now, a minister, Christian Science practitioner, who uses IRS approval not to be taxed on earnings from these sources, but you owe self-employment tax on these earnings. Now, first of all, what is a Christian Science practitioner?
We said that again.
What's a Christian Science practitioner?
So like something like future something.
Like a what?
Future something.
Like a spiritual healer or something?
Probably faith healer, spiritual. Yeah, but all of these are preachers, the minister. They give a minister the right to choose whether to pay it or not, or used to, not to be taxed on earnings from these sources. All right, but you may owe self-employment tax on other earnings. Now, once a preacher starts having Social Security tax deducted from his paycheck, or he starts paying Social Security tax, then he can never quit. But they really should have it deducted. That gives them a retirement fund. All right, but going on down, I want you to look at this short form. All right. I want you to skip 1A and 1B. Now on your paper, I want you to put in, I want you to follow with. On your paper, I want you to put in net profit from Schedule C on line 2. Let's say you're self-employed and you made $60,000. So line 2, write down the word, line 2, $60,000. Now line 3 is still $60,000. I want you to do what, and label these, line 3, 60,000. Now label line 4 and multiply. All right, what have you got on line 4? What have you got on line 4?
55,410.
Now that's what you're going to be taxed on, not the whole amount. Now look at this. Here's a line that puzzles me. Now up here we'd put farm income, 0. If you receive Social Security, retirement, disability, enter the reserve program payments, include on F, that would be farm. K1 would be a partnership. But here is a crazy instruction, and I don't believe it. Don't follow this schedule unless you have an amount on line B. You don't need an amount on line B. Now let's go on down to line 5. All right, now look at line 5. What are you doing? This list is 132.9. So you multiply line 4 by 15.3%. And what is your Social Security tax? Right here, 132.9 or less. Multiply. What is your Social Security tax on line 4?
8,477 and 73 cents.
How much? 8?
8,477 and 73
All right,
cents.
now they gave you a little bit of break, didn't they? You're only taxed on 92.35% and 15.3%. But it don't matter what you multiply, the dollars or percent, it comes out the same. Now here, if you made more than 132, multiply line 4 by 2.9, then add 16,000. 16,000 would be 6.2% of the first 132.9. Now after you make 132,900, you quit paying the 6.2, but you have to pay the 2.9, which is 1.45 double. It's 2.9. Now, right here, you're going to deduct 1/2. You're going to put that on Schedule 1, 1040. That's an adjustment. 1/2 of that, okay? So at least you don't pay federal tax on half of your Social Security. They should let you deduct it all. They don't.
So you pay tax on 4,238.
Do what?
So you'd be able to deduct 4,238.
Exactly.
Okay.
I wanted to get back to now that was the short form. I'd like to have see, it should give us a choice. Let's bring it up to short form. All right, whoa, wait a minute. We got the long form. I guess we had that. Here, if you are a minister, net form. But here you can fill out, we're finished with the front of this, so it's better to use the short form if you can. All right. Now, we will practice that. We will do a small business and we will practice that. Now, on page 9 of your chapter 14, what is self-employment income? Net earnings from a sole proprietorship. Director's fee. Taxable research grants. Anything you do and you get a 1099 for it, you're self-employed. The barber shop is self-employed. The beauty shop is probably self-employed. Even if your hairstylist rents a station in a beauty shop, she's self-employed. Now, if the owner of that beauty shop pays her a salary, then she is not self-employed. A lot of small business scattered out through here. Self-employed accountants, bookkeepers, self-employed home repair people, construction people. A lot of self-employed people. Okay. And they're the number one employment, number one type of business in this country. There's more of proprietorship. The corporations own the most money, the most assets, have the most sales, the most employees, the most everything. The top corporations in this country could bankrupt this country. All right. Now, self-employed, I don't know if they went into it or not. How do you know if you're self-employed?
If you pay your own self.
You what?
Basically, if you pay your own self, technically,
Where's your money come from to pay your own sale?
your clients, the jobs that you do.
Clients, customers, yeah.
Like you don't, the money comes directly to you.
Well, like nowadays, like Uber and stuff like that, that's self-employment too.
Yeah.
Because that's how my job is. I work for a company called Fit House over something. And it's like Uber but for moving. Like Uber. So like, but the client they pay the bill out first, and then we get the check from them. So they take out what they need to take out.
Well, they take out taxes on it? Okay, now I know these Uber drivers are probably self-employed on it.
They just take a fee out of your paycheck for being a part of that company, is all they do.
Well, they take their fee, yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing the advertising, they
Yeah.
started and all that. I've used Uber drivers 2 or 3 times in St. Louis, Missouri, and up around, I guess, New York somewhere, but they're okay. Usually they're pretty dependable. I'm sure there's some bad ones out there. Back to self-employed. Okay, my son, he started being a chiropractor down in Chattanooga. He worked for a man, and that man gave him a check every month or every 2 weeks, gross salary. And that man told him he was self-employed. But here's why he was not self-employed. So, if his boss made him be self-employed, what did his boss say? What did his boss save on him?
Taxes.
He saved half in Social Security, right? He didn't have to pay FUTA or SUTA.
You didn't have to pay any benefits.
No benefits whatsoever. Now, if enough people turn this man into IRS, now, if you're self-employed, your boss does not have the right to tell you when to start work or end work. He does not have the right to tell you the place you go to work. Now, unless you report at a certain place and they send you out in the field. But my son reported in this one office and he was told what time to open and what time to close. That makes him an employee. If you're told what time to be there and what time to quit and what to do. Now, I had another fellow, an engineer. He was an engineer for a coal company. And they paid him self-employment income. Wrong. They told him to be there, where his office was, and what job to work on. He was an employee. All right, so make a note of that when you read this. All right, we will do a small business and we'll do an SE in the near future. Now look at the top of page 11. Well, I gotta go back to now look over here at the top of page 11. What does it mean? Non-refundable. What does it mean? All right, now listen up. A refundable tax credit like earned income credit, maybe some child tax credit. Refund. Now Jessica had a couple of kids and she was filing.
You can get money back on it.
All right, she paid him no taxes, but she files and claims earned income credit, and she gets back money even though she paid none in. Well, if it's non-refundable,
It only covers what you put in.
it only uses up what you paid in or they withheld on you, yes. All right. So, the Child Independent Care Credit, and that is Form 2441. You may have it on some of your people. Now, the best way to look at that form is to bring up the form. So let me do that. Take a minute. I gotta get you all out here at 1:30 today because I gotta download things from Moodle on Moodle. I gotta be on the road at 2 o'clock. I gotta be in Bristol, Tennessee by 4. So to let my oil surgeon do an X-ray, see if I'm ready to put in my 2 permanent teeth. I may get my 2 teeth before next Christmas. But they made what they call a flipper, 2 dummy teeth. They're not too bad. All right, I wanted to bring you up a schedule 2441. I'm going to try the number without going to all these sources. All right, now let's get some rules out of the way for child care. Now, if you're paying a babysitter to work, now you cannot pay a babysitter $6,000 a year and only make $5,000. But you know, a lot of mothers like to do that. Why would a mother pay a babysitter $6,000 a year and only make $5,000. Kids are driving her crazy. She wants somebody else to do her job for her. But whatever the reason, that does happen. The IRS won't let you take more than what you make. Okay, now, personal organization. If you take your child to a qualified babysitter, Kids R Us or something, get their ID number. Now, if you got somebody coming into your home or you take it to their home, get your ID number. Jessica, do you have any relatives that use a babysitter?
Yeah.
Do they take the baby to the center or does the center come to the baby?
Take it to the babysitter.
All right. If you take your baby to a babysitter, you can pay $5 an hour, whatever, right? But if that babysitter comes to your home, what are you supposed to do? Minimum wage, and you pay all the taxes, match Social Security. That's the law. A lot of people don't follow it. Even Congress people didn't follow it. They would order, hire some of these international people and get by with paying them less and not report it. And they've been caught at it, some of them have. All right, so if you bring a babysitter to your home, minimum wage, you do the payroll taxes and the quarterly reports and the whole works. So take your baby to them. Is it okay to get your mother to babysit and pay her? Yeah. Yeah, you can deduct if you pay your mother, but you use her Social Security number. Now your mother might not want to report any income. Might knock her out of something. Or she may not make enough other income to worry about. She won't have to pay taxes on it, but you get to deduct it. So anyway, that's just some off the wall comments. Now here is all right, put down your kids, put their Social Security number, and put down qualified expenses you incurred. Now let's say on line 2, you had $7,000. Look at it. Line 2, $7,000. How much can I put on line 3? 2 kids, $7,000. How much can I put on line 3? Can you read it? It tells you how much can I put on line 3. How much?
6,000.
6,000. Well, if I have one child and paid out $5,000 a year, how much do I put on line 3?
3,000.
Well, if I have 6 kids and paid out $12,000, how much do I put on line 3?
6,000.
All right, 6,000 limit. Was that a test on that? Was that a question on that?
I think so.
Close to it.
Yeah. It was like, how
All right.
much can she get for child care?
Enter your earned income. All right, now let's say this was 6,000. I hope your earned income is more. Let's say it's 10,000. If married, follow jointly, enter your spouse's income. Enter the smaller of yours or your spouse. Now, here's your percent you get. Now, on state income tax, this is probably an itemized deduction. On your federal income tax, this is a credit. Credits are good if you can get them. All right, if a husband and wife made between 35 and 70, what percent do they get? 24% of 6,000 is how much? What's,
Around 15.
huh? What's 24% of 6,000?
It's around 15. It's like 14.
Well, if they made 45,000, what's 20% of 6,000? 1,200.
1440 is the 24%.
All right, what's 20% then of 6,000? 1,200. That's usually the amount. That's a credit. That reduces your federal tax by $1,200. Who wouldn't want to do it? You got to pay for those kids anyway. Alright. Put it here on Schedule 3 of Form 1040, or SR. Okay, that's a good credit. I'm all for it. We need to know about it. Those schedules are also presented in your book on page 12. All right, credit for the elderly. Folks, you have to put in these people's age on the computer. And you have to put in their retirement. If there's any credit for the elderly available, the computer will calculate it. But credit for the elderly. How much is that credit? Read this one paragraph. There's a form, credit for the elderly. If they've reached age 65, the maximum credit is 15% of the initial amount of $5,000.
75, I'm married finally.
But what is 15% of 5,000? $750?
Yeah.
Anyhow, that'd be a credit for the elderly. But I went through that form, folks, with a lot of older people, and they've never gotten any credit. When you go through the form, it exempts some things, and some things it don't. You get down, there's nothing left to get a credit on. But I wanted to mention it to you. The computer will calculate it if we need it. Any of y'all have any adopted relatives? Jessica, if you couldn't have a child, would you adopt?
Possibly.
Lamont, would you adopt?
Yeah.
There's a lot of babies out there that need a good home. My son and his wife, they could not have a child, so they adopted. Now, it was my sister-in-law's cousin having these babies. She was down in Florida and she was just having babies every year. All of them had different daddies. They adopted a son, and then about 3 years later, they adopted his sister with a different daddy, so it made her half sister. They never knew it until they got older. But if you adopt a child, I think you ought to let it know early on as possible. When you adopt, you never know what you get. But now, sometimes you do background checks. My adopted nephew had some mental problem. They didn't know that when they adopted him. My adopted niece, she was bisexual when she grew up. They didn't know that when they first had a girlfriend, then a boyfriend. A girlfriend, then she married a guy, so I guess she's straight now. Amon, can't imagine all that, can you, Amon?
2020.
But anyway, so both of those children had problems, but they didn't know that when they were babies. The nephew, is his mental problems had something to do with his ancestors, or is it something that my brother and sister-in-law did in his raising? I don't know. As far as being gay, bisexual, or straight, don't know if they trace that back to the ancestors or not, I doubt. Okay. All right. So adoption expenses if you ever adopt. This is pretty good of IRS to do this. Okay? So I want you to look at, well, sometimes I can get rid of that and sometimes I can't. A non-refundable credit of up to $14,000 is allowed for qualified expenses in 2019. In 18 it was 13. It's allowable in the year the adoption is finalized. Don't pay them before that year, only in the year. The credit is phased out over 50,000 range for high income taxpayers. The 2019 phase out starts at 211,000. So you have no problem there. Adoption fees and court costs and attorney's fees and other expenses are directly related to legal adoption of a legal eligible child. All right. Now the child has to be less than 18 years of age. Who in the world would want to adopt an 18-year-old? Somebody totally crazy? Adopt an 18-year-old teenager. All right. So adoption expenses are there if you ever need them. Do some research on them. Now the one I wanted to get to is here. This is a big one, and you'll see that next week and about every week after. We need to understand a little more about credit for education. Now we know that interest expense on student loans, I was saying, you're the only one that does student loan, you take that out as an adjustment on the 1040, one of those schedules. It's an adjustment. That has nothing to do with this. Now you do have an option. You might be able to take this out as an adjustment or as a credit. Now if you take something out as an adjustment and you're in a 10% tax bracket, it saves you 10%. If you're in a 50% tax bracket and you had tuition of 10,000, tuition 10,000, you're in a 50% tax bracket, how much does it save you? What's 50% 10,000?
5,000.
50% of 10,000?
15?
Yeah.
I thought you said 50.
That's what I
No,
thought.
I'm sorry, 15%.
1,000, okay.
That would be your savings.
That's why I was confused. I was like, that sounds like.
If you put it as an adjustment, that would be your savings. 10,000 tuition, you're in a 15% bracket. So try it both ways. That's one way. Usually not as good as this way. The market opportunity under this, up to how much for qualified tuition related expenses during the year? The credit allows equal 1% of the first how much? 100% of the first how much? 2,000. So now already is 2,000 better than that 1,500?
Yeah.
So don't take it out as an adjustment. Take it out as a market opportunity credit. Now, Obama, when Obama was in office, it's a good thing Obama did. That he wanted at least the first 2 years of your college to get a credit for it. And then from then on it's expanded. Okay? But then you get 50% of the next 1,000. So you get up to 2,500. You may claim up to how much per child? 2,500. That's better than 15 now, right? If you pay out, now if you pay out 5,000 tuition, you're still going to get 2,500. If you pay out 3,000 tuition, you're still going to get 2,500. You're going to get 2,000 plus half of the next 1,000. Now if you pay out 2,500 tuition, you It's the first 2,000 and half of the 500. Be 2,250. All right. Now, the American Opportunity Credit. Now, when can you take this? I know some of you don't have your book, but what years do you take this in? It can be taken for each individual student. Now, in the first 4 years of college. This is your first 4 years of college, the American Opportunity Tax Credit. Now, to abbreviate that, that's AOTC. American Opportunity Tax Credit, AOTC. Now, I want you to look at this one. Lifetime Learning Credit. Let's say you want an MBA. Let's say you want a doctorate. Okay? Dr. Sneed and I was talking about doctorates down there yesterday. He said it didn't make him any better teacher after he got his doctorate. He said, in fact, he probably was a worse teacher the first year he was in college trying to get it for the time limit. But, anyhow, this equals 20% of qualified education expenses of up to how much? Up to how much?
10,000.
What is 20% of 10,000?
10,000.
That's what you can take when you work on your master's and your doctorate. Now, let's say you get your degree and you get the job with a CPA firm. Now, if they send you to get continuing education, that qualifies for lifetime learning. And you may live to be work to 65, and you have to take that every year, so you can take lifetime learning every year, up to 2,000. Now, which is the better credit, the opportunity or the lifetime learning? Which one's the best?
Lifetime.
Yeah,
What?
it's a good lifetime.
Well, lifetime's good because you get it for more years.
I think opportunity is a higher credit, right?
2,500. How much did you get here?
Up to 2,000.
2,500 is better than 2. So for the first 4 years, the American Opportunity Tax Credit is better. Can't get it after that. Now, this is phased out too. Over $116,000 for married father jointly. So hopefully you don't have to phase in that credit out. Now we're looking at some important credits. Is this one refundable or non-refundable?
Not refundable, right? Not refundable.
I'd say not.
I don't think it is. I can't tell you 100% for sure.
Because
I
why
think
would
the
you
only
get-
refundable is the earned income credit and child tax credit.
Yeah, because why would you give money back if you didn't pay that much into it in the first place for an education?
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. I only made $8,000. I owe no taxes.
Yes.
But I paid out $6,000 in tuition. I get a credit of $2,500. But I owe no taxes. There's no taxes for it to reduce. It would be nice if I could put that $2,500 back in my pocket because I paid the tuition. So that's why I'm questioning.
I don't think so.
Now I want you to look over here at the comment. Can you make sense out of that? Refundable child's tax credit. That does not apply, this additional comment, does that even apply to what we're talking about?
I think that was supposed to be for the previous page.
I think it's a misprint, isn't it? It's a misprint on this page. All right, Jessica, Google for me real quick. Is education tax credit a refundable credit? See if you get a quick answer. I think the answer is probably no.
The American Opportunity Tax Credit is a partially refundable tax credit.
Partial what?
Is a partially refundable.
Well, I guess if it went either way, it'd have been right. But we have to put that on the form to see what part is and what part's not. All right, I like these credits. I like especially the refundable credits. And I even like the child care credit. That's something. I've not gotten to the earned income tax credit yet, or the business credits. If you got a book, look at page 23. Anybody got, Jessica, can you bring 23 up real quick? Page 23, chapter 14. What title do you see on page 23?
Provisions related to insurance.
No, going down, middle of the page.
Refundable personal credits.
You should see refundable credits. Now, what's the first one you see there?
Earned income.
That's a good one. Let's flip a page and see what else we got. Did it give us anything else?
That's it.
That's it, isn't it? Well, I thought it'd at least tell us part about the education. Dad, blame it. I thought I was on to something. Evidently, I was not. That's something I already told you. All right. Have you heard of that? Now, if you go to Lowe's and you buy an appliance, and you get an efficiency rating on that, at one time you get a credit for that. Now, if you put in some kind of better windows, if you put in solar heat or hydro heat, Mr. Alma thinks that we could go with solar heat. What's hydro heat?
By water.
Water. Now, you should have mentioned thermal too. Well, I built my home 30 years ago. They talked to me about thermal heat by putting units in the ground to give me heat. And he thinks we could do away with the electric grid. Now, how'd that come up? I've read 2 or 3 times that the next war that we will experience in this country is a cyber war. Other countries could shut down our electric grids, our satellites, our computers, our cell phones. Lamont, could you survive? There's electricity in your cell phone. Could you survive? All that went out?
Well, like if I didn't have to work or anything,
right?
If there's an EMP watch, then cars will no longer work as well.
Yeah.
Because of what?
An EMP, that will render all cars useless as well.
You bring all cars to a standstill?
Yes.
Well, we might not even have any transportation there. Be rough, wouldn't it? Be rough. Let's walk, a bicycle, and a horse. Lamont, there's not very many people in this country that could survive without electricity, transportation, phones, computers. Take 12 million people in New York City, and they have no way, no land, unless they move out to make a garden. If they move out, they'd have to walk. Could you live off the land?